He's an actor, he's a singer, he's a hoofer, he's a musician. You name it on stage, boy, he can do it. He's also an athlete, which may surprise some of you. A golfer, football player, and quite a basketball player in his day, and also the founder of Little People of America. Folks, please welcome Billy Barty. All right. Hey. Hi, Billy. How you doing? Good to see you. Yes, sir. God, I've seen you in more shows, I tell you. You're fun to see. It's fun to see you perform. You know,
Well,
it really
thank
is.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You are primarily a performer, and I think that's the way people have finally come to know you. Not as a dwarf, but you're a performer and a real human being, aren't you?
Well, that's very nice.
No, really.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, that's right. No, he admits it. And you started, you've been at this game a few years, too, haven't you? When did you start in show business, for example?
Well, when I was 3 years old.
My Lord, that's
3
been at
years
least
old.
25 years ago.
24.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time working with some wonderful people, some great people. You know, when I played Mickey Rooney's kid brother and the comedies and, going way back to a lot of great films. It's too many to remember. We got another hour and a half.
Yeah. Hey, but you did start in vaudeville, I think, didn't you? Way back
I
in the
started
30s?
in vaudeville, right. We played the circuit throughout the South and the North, and by the time I was 11 years old, I'd already been throughout the United States and Canada, traveling in vaudeville. And we used to follow Donald O'Connor. Donald O'Connor and I have known one another for years, and in fact, we were both the same size, but he passed me up some way along the line.
When you were about 11, huh?
No, we were, from the time we were 8.
Yeah.
I was 8 and he was 7. We first met.
I'll be damned.
And we've been friends all this time with Mickey Rooney, too, you know. Sure. Mickey Rooney and I almost grew up together.
Good line. I got a kick out of
He's a great performer, too, one of my dear friends.
In fact, he was in town about a year ago doing a great show here.
Yeah,
what was
Sugar
it?
Baby?
Yeah, Sugar Baby.
Baby.
Oh, yeah, fun.
I saw him in New York.
You know, you were telling me about a situation with Harriet Velichez, and you were doing a show with him. You were doing Fantasy Island.
We did. Red Buttons and I tried to take over the island from Hervé Velichez and Ricardo Montalban.
That's neat.
In fact, Hervé and I had a fight. Yeah. And I told the director, you know, this is the first time that I was ever able to grab somebody's lapel and have a fight scene. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we see life differently.
You sure do. In fact, remember I was telling you before the show, I was telling you about Wilt Chamberlain. One time I was in a newsroom with Wilt Chamberlain, interviewing him for about a half an hour, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, my word, the perspective he has. So when he left, I got up on a ladder.
He's 7 foot.
Yeah, amazing. And you know, he sees the top of everything. He sees all the dirt on top of all the shelves that are up high.
We see it underneath the bed.
Yeah, yes. It's all a matter of perspective. Huh?
Yeah, but you know, tall people like that and little people have many similar problems.
Like what? What do you mean?
Clothing.
Oh, yeah.
Accommodations, room, you know, getting in the telephone booths, reaching phones, shoes. Yeah. You know, they can't buy my shoes and I can't buy their shoes. In fact, one point is very clear. They all pay the same price as we do for clothes.
The big people do.
The big do. Yeah, the big people. Yeah. Because the tailors tell us that, well, we have to sew little, you know. Yeah. And really, they say it's just as hard to make a suit for us as it is for them. Now, I don't believe all that, but that's what they tell us.
And you've got to pay it.
But yeah, but we've had, in the organization, we have a gentleman by the name of Paul Mahonani who has gone out and really given us a break on our clothing and things like that. We found, through the organization, we found a lot of things out that we can do.
When did you found Little People of America? When did you start?
1957.
Oh, it's been around a while.
1957, we started our first convention in Reno, Nevada. There were 21 people attending, representing 9 states. This past year in St. Louis, Missouri, we had 1,000 people attending, representing not only the United States, but Canada and about 12 foreign countries.
How many little people are there in the world? And this is under 4 feet 10.
In the world, I would estimate, in the United States alone, there has to be, there's 82,500 people of short stature born each year.
My golly. Yeah.
So we are in the minority, but we also have quite a number of people who have to know and learn about the organization and what we are doing. I mean, there's so many things that we have to offer. For instance, one of our friends in the audience right now, Mr. Bob East, discovered one time that little people had to pay $300 and $400, $500 to get extensions on an automobile. And he said, this is ridiculous. So he went out and he invented automobile extensions that you can buy, you can put on your car, you can take them off, you can travel with them, you can even rent a car. We could never rent a car before because they said it's a great insurance risk. So we could never rent a car. And this is only one of the things. And plus, he made an invention that you could even use telephones.
Ah, neat.
I mean, well, you know, we get into an airport and you can't reach the telephone. Now, because of, through our organization and through another called CAPH, which has helped quite a bit, they're more in the legislature, in the lobby. Phones have been lowered, but you know, it's a constant reach.
Well, it's a constant battle, I can imagine, because, you know, most of us people who are average height never stop to think about the problems that you have or Wilt Chamberlain has. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but also I want you guys to tell us a little bit about some of the things that we do wrong, because I got a feeling there are a few things. Well, there's so many things that we do in our organization, you know, the medical, psychological, and vocational support, not only for the big people who have little people, but little people themselves, and also educating the big people. Okay. Well, we'll be back more with Billy Barty right after this. Billy Barty. And now I'd like you to meet some of his friends who are Little People of America. First of all, we have Harriet Stickney. Harriet's the president of the San Francisco chapter of the LPA, Little People of America. And next to Harriet, we have Martha Underkoffer, who was Billy's assistant. And then next to Martha, we have Dawn Abbey, who is a team member of Little People of America. Hey, welcome to AM San Francisco. Harriet, you were a school teacher. Gosh, how many years did you teach school?
I taught for 12.
That's plenty, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
But what age group did you teach?
I taught primary, from 2nd grade through 4th at various times of my 12-year career.
Did those kids give you a hard time because you were a little person?
They didn't
They didn't? No way?
No, because I knew that the minute I had any discipline problems in my classroom, it would not be the child they were considering. They would say, see, could have told you she can't handle 30 kids. So I used psychology and a little bit of ham acting and a few other things, and it worked fine. And they also really, one of the great things about being the same size as the kids is they liked it, and I could also sneak up on them.
And you catch them cheating or what have you?
Yes, I caught them into a couple of things. A couple of the boys were going to do some catapults one time, and I reached and I said their names. They couldn't blame it on anybody. I saw the whole action. And if I could do that within the first 3 or 4 days that I had a class, they all began to think I had a little magical quality, and so they were very good.
You had them.
Yes.
I remember one time, Fred, in this organization, we had about 5 or 6 states, Harriet, that would not allow a person of short stature to teach because they were afraid of that size. But a little person has such great rapport with the elementary. My daughter is a teacher's aide, and we really have, and through Harriet's efforts, have encouraged little people to go into teaching. It's just a fantastic.
So you've run into discrimination yourself too, have you?
Yes, after I taught in my home county for 8 years, I wanted to go elsewhere and teach. And here I had experience and everything else, and they said, well, if we can find a school out on the fringes of town and so that the town can get used to you and then bring you in, I said, no, thank you. And finally, I did get a job teaching with the Milwaukee Public School Systems back in Wisconsin. Worked great. We do have a gal who is much shorter than I who teaches French in Tracy.
So it can be done. Obviously, you've done it over the years. Let's talk to Martha a second here. Martha, you married?
No.
Okay. You looking?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, of course. Who doesn't look? See, you're about mid-20s now, so it's just about right. What kind of problems do you have when you're trying to attract, say, another man? And do you try to attract average-sized men as well as little people?
Well, yeah, I don't discriminate against size. My belief is that I can get along with an average, most little people, the majority of their friends are average height. So to say to a guy that you are interested or you get along with or you're friends with, to say, I'm not going to date you because you're too tall, would be kind of hypocritical.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other spectrum, I have a lot of good friends that are little people. So to date, and I have dated little men, so.
How about your folks? Are both of them dwarfs or?
No, in fact, 90% of most little people come from average-sized parents.
90%?
Yes.
Now,
I have 3 older brothers that are all average height, and my parents were average height.
Yeah.
In fact, there's no history in my family, as in most family, of dwarfism.
In fact, I was reading about dwarfism. Boy, there are almost as many causes of dwarfism as there are dwarfs.
Well, there's
Almost.
over 100 different types of dwarfism.
Really?
I was a very rare type one time. I'm a cartilage hair syndrome hypoplasia. The three of these are achondroplastic. And we have one little girl in the audience now who came, and they asked why her hair wasn't growing, which is very obvious through my hair, but she has 20 times as much as I have now. And they were worried about that, but it's because of the specific type of dwarfism. And now we have over 100 and some classifications that doctors have reasons for.
And they continue to find more.
And they continue to find more.
27 years ago, when the organization was founded, there was two types, proportionate, disproportionate.
Right.
And the
general categories is all they were.
disproportionate were all called achondroplasia. You go back in some of the old, more mature members of the caught myself.
She's trying to say older.
Members of the organization, no matter what type they were classified automatically as achondroplasia if they were disproportionate, and if they were proportionate, they were automatically classified as midget or pituitary.
What's wrong with that word midget, by the way? Everything I read in your literature says midget is a bad word.
It's so people use it in very derogatory, and they use it for anything that's small. You know, that's a midget thing. And you're a midget. It's just the way people use it,
Okay.
and we really aren't, because midget means more in proportion.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess.
when we started the organization, a thing is nobody wanted to be called a dwarf, because a dwarf was in a Webster's dictionary as a mean, nasty little person who played in fairy tales, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Now dwarf is so popular, and it's common, because really dwarf means anything 5 feet or under and short.
Yeah.
And it's the medical term.
I want to talk to Dawn here a second. Dawn, you're what, 18 years old now, I think?
Yes.
Where are you in school?
I'm a senior in high school.
Going to graduate?
Yep.
Whoa, you're ready, huh?
Yeah.
Tell me, how tall are you?
3'11".
3'11". Now, have you run into discrimination in high school?
Not so much. It was
Really?
more in my earlier years in grammar school, you know, kids not knowing what was wrong or why I was short. But now as I'm in high school, I've had these friends for almost 10 years, and they've learned to accept me for what I am.
I understand you have a big dance coming up, right?
the
The usual
prom.
senior prom?
Yeah.
You got a date yet?
Not at the moment.
Really? Uh-huh. I understand there's a special service, though, that's provided by the LPA. Is that
Well,
true?
through LPA, there's quite a few friends. We have quite a few friends, and as a favor for you or anything, you can ask some of them to take you, or they'll take you.
But you're holding out maybe for somebody that you like, huh? For sure.
Possibly.
Yes, she is.
Stay with us, folks. Lots more with the Little People of America right after this. We're talking about dwarfism this morning, and I've got to tell you folks about an article that was in the San Francisco Chronicle. Maybe you've read it. On February 26th, Little People protest dwarf toss. Now this, a planned dwarf throwing contest by hefty bouncers in Sydney, Australia. The winner will be the bouncer who throws a 4'1" dwarf known as Wee Robbie the longest distance.
Bad.
Now does that offend me, or you, as much as it offends me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sick.
It
Very
really
sick.
is sick. It
That's
seems
about
to me.
the only way. What's wrong with that is that somebody may get a drink or two
Exactly.
in a bar, and some little person will be in there, and he'll say, "Let's have a dwarf throwing contest," and pick up and kill the guy.
Yeah.
Yes. The other question I had was several mothers of teenage boys called and said, you know how teenagers horse around and they get into these things. What if they suddenly decide to have a toss the Chris or toss the Sam or toss contest? And I said, hopefully they'll be smart enough to realize, because it could be very, very damaging. Even though that we Robbie had a crash helmet on and a mattress, it could still be damaging because we have delicate necks. I mean, we've got a spinal thing. It
Harry
could
and
be
I
hard.
talked about this, and we decided not to do anything about it
Right.
because the more publicity you give it, you know, so bye.
Let's hope it dies.
Makes it all the
quickly.
worse. Just calls more attention to it. Sure, we have some questions here.
Yes,
from folks in the
Shorty.
audience.
Hi, Billy. As you realize, I'm about 6'7" and a little taller, and as we all realize as we get more mature, that it's really the heart and soul that's really important in a person.
Right.
And I was wondering, in my own situation, I don't really know whether I dream of being tall, but in your dream life, do you, when you have situations in your dream life, are you small or are you normal size?
We are ourselves.
Yeah.
The only time I ever thought about being tall was when I see all the money they're making in professional basketball.
Right, yeah.
and professional sports. And I used to, when I played basketball, you know, I made a 25-foot shot. Today they make a 1-foot shot. You know, and it's spectacular. I'm not knocking it. I mean, you know, but that's the only comparison that I could ever make. But I think you think about something that's not there and forget about it.
There are many little people, though, in real life who don't want to admit that they're little people, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Now, why is that?
Well, it takes, when you're in a community of average-sized people, and you're the only little person, everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
Everybody recognizes you when you go down the street.
You're very distinctive.
And to them, when you do something special, they say, wow, you've done something really spectacular. Then you come to a national convention, no one recognizes you as being something special. No one knows your name until you get into the crowd. And you find out that that there's all sorts of college degrees there, and very prominent little people, and it kind of takes your ego down a couple of spots.
You're not in the minority. You are also all of a sudden in the majority.
Yeah. But why wouldn't you want to admit it if you were there with all people your size? Why wouldn't you willing to, you know,
It
to
takes a big leap to admit, yes, I am a dwarf.
Really?
Yes, I am different. For some people, it's the mirror image. You look at this group and you see people, we chondroplasts, I'll be nice to us and say we have a distinctive walk. It's almost like a duck waddle. And you get there and you see these other people walking, you say, my heavens, is that how I look to everybody else? But once you're in the group, you forget how everybody looks. I mean, that they're different because they become your friends. You see them as people, not as
And you were
objects.
talking about Will Chamberlain and how his perspective on the world is. Well, our perspective is everything's high. Then you all of a sudden you see you're looking like this, and you're like the whole world has changed overnight. You know.
Got a question here, yes, sir.
What I wanted to know is, in Hollywood, society puts a lot of pressure on those people, and they kind of turn to drugs or cocaine a lot of times to deal with that pressure. Obviously, you folks have some pressure on you, too, and I wanted to know how you deal with that.
Good question.
Well, I can talk about Hollywood, I guess. Unfortunately, we do not have any leading little people, although we are probably more romantic than some big people I know. We do not have many little people doing commercials. We still brush our teeth, and we use shampoo, and we use
We
all
drink
the
coffee.
ingredients. We drink, I don't drink coffee
No.
anymore. Instead of my growth. But we do all the same things. You don't see many little people. Only at Christmas time when all the little elves come out.
In one word, what's the biggest mistake we make, and what advice do you give to us?
Think.
Think?
Yeah.
Use your head? Use your
Yeah.
noggin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See us as people.
Yeah. Don't, you know, we're not dogs, so don't pat us on the head.
Da, 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 da.
And for parents, I would say the biggest mistake, we talked about this earlier, is, you know, children, when they're young, rely a lot on their parents. You know, when mommy tells me the stove is hot and it's going to burn me, it is going to burn. You know, it hurts. So when you have a little person out there, and the kid says, Mommy, look at the little person, and all of a sudden Mommy grabs the kid and jerks the arm away, first reaction that kid's going to have, there's something wrong,
Yeah.
something bad, something evil. They're going to hurt me.
So in one word, Billy said it, think. And hey, I'd like to thank all of you for being with us here and really helping us average height people out, because we do need some help when it
We
comes
haven't
to
got another half
understanding. No, I wish we did. By the way, if you want more information about Little People of America, the San Francisco chapters of P.O. Box 633, San Bruno, California, 94066. We'll be right back, folks. Thanks again.
Meet lots of interesting people when you join the AM audience. For free tickets, call 863-AM-SM. This
Dozen. Family Feud Celebrity Special Loving Family Feud, all starting at 11:10 Central and Pacific this week.
Change your mind yet?